Hello, creepy crawlies, and welcome to a very special episode of Ice Cream Queens. I'm bringing in my lovely co-host, Lauren. By the way,
Hi, I
Lauren and
exist.
I are actually running the behind the scenes. So if we seem a little more chaotic than usual, I think you now know why.
I
And
click button and make things happen.
I know, and I'm not used to clicking the buttons, and I'm like, "Oh, wait, I gotta click buttons and talk all at the same time. Oh, somebody please stop this. I have the goat, but I didn't even think to like bring the goat in. I'm like,
We don't
what
need
is
the good.
I love the goat. I have lots of questions. I have people asking about the goat.
I know you. I don't know what. I think it's because when you first come in, you're playing with the goat every time, and people logging in for the first time ever are like, "Oh yes, this very serious topic. We're discussing AI and art, or we're discussing this," and then all of a sudden it pops up, and there's you, a pretty lady with this stuffed goat, and you're just like, "And I love you, I love you, and I love you too," and they're like, what am I watching? Is this some fetish thing? Anyway, sorry. Let's bring in our guests.
Absolutely. So, first up, we have someone you've seen on the show a couple of times before. We're going to bring in the Geek Gumshoe. Hello and
Hello, ladies.
welcome. How are
Hello.
you?
I kind of miss the goat.
I did too. I did too.
Just hug the goat. Love the goat.
I think that everybody kind of who's been with us and watched our show knows who you are. Do you want to do a quick introduction or do you want to keep on rolling?
Sure. I mean, I can just give my quick intro. I am Geek Gumshoe. I am a retired police detective, retired a couple of years ago after 26 years in law enforcement, 16 years of that, which I was a detective. I worked for the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, spent 4 years on a task force with the Secret Service, and investigated everything from mailbox vandalisms to homicides.
Good night. Okay, so you are qualified to talk about anything that we throw at you that is law enforcement related, true crime related. You're covered. We're covered, right?
I don't know that I'd say I'm qualified, but I will run my mouth about it as long as people let me.
Fair.
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 Okay, and now special. You've seen the name. I don't know that everybody has
Ooh.
seen the face.
Oh, the
Welcome,
face.
Joey
the
Roadie!
Hi, y'all.
Hey, Joey, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me tonight.
You've
Joey's
popped
lost
in
in
before. We had a
cyberspace.
couples thing once.
Yeah, we have. Okay.
I've been on
His
After
beard
Dark a
wasn't
couple
as
times.
magnificent then.
I
I
have
don't.
beard envy.
See, the more knowledge that goes into my head, it just culminates right in my beard, you know?
My beard's not as long. I feel a little.
That's not where
emasculated.
our knowledge goes. Evidently,
Let's not go there yet.
we're not going there yet.
I love to put him on the spot. I love you so much. We didn't tell you beforehand.
Love you too.
Give us a little. Who are you? Where did you come from? How did you get here?
Yeah, my name's Joey the Roadie Knight. I am a IT professional for a Fortune 500 company. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
And you make good drawing art.
And you can find me on DeviantArt as well under Punkworks. It's PUNKWERKZ.
What? How did I not know that?
I've shown you
He
my
makes
gallery
good drawing
before.
art.
Sorry, my brain is tonight.
All right.
After that con, yes.
Right?
Absolutely. All right, guys. You know him. You love him. He's the host. He is the prophet of pop culture. Are we still going with that name, Johnny Beyond?
Yes, I am John Pyka, the prophet of pop culture. You can call me Johnny Beyond if you dare. And as DL was mentioning, I am the host of the Back of the Cereal Box podcast, a pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth while sharing what we love today in adulthood. And it's the flagship show of the Cereal Box Network, which the Ice Cream Queens are a part of. And breaking news. ladies,
Oh.
you guys are actually the top rated show on the Cereal Box Network.
I
It's-
make
it's
squeaky
Lauren's baby.
noises.
Maybe
It's-
you need to be the flagship show. Now, unlike Joey and the Geek Gumshoe, I am not an IT professional. I am not a law enforcement professional.
But you play
However-
on one on TV.
I have.
You did stay in Holiday Inn Express last night, right?
No. However, I have been an entertainment professional for the last 40 years, both live entertainment, print entertainment. I'm a published author with 6 books, and digital entertainment with the podcast network and broadcasting. I've been doing the podcast thing since 2005, and so
Wow.
AI text, AI art, and AI imagery, voice cloning is something that is very near and dear to my heart, something that I'm very passionate about, and something that I've taken a hard line on and lost a lot of friends and a lot of colleagues over.
All
So
right.
I have a lot to say.
We're
All right.
excited. We are absolutely excited because this is a hot topic. And I also want to bring in our last and final guest for
I'm
the
so
evening.
excited. This is
Oh
a first
my-
timer. This is our first time. We've mentioned so many times though.
Oh, yes. So if you have not met Bryan Huff of Huff Photography, Huff Photo. I said that wrong. Somebody shoot me now. I have been at your
Slap
booth
me.
this entire weekend and I said it wrong. Somebody please just yeah.
I'll
But-
help you. I'll help you. We love him. We love
do.
him.
Oh my
He
gosh.
is the king of con photography, in our opinion. And that says a lot coming from
Yes.
this group.
Yes.
Well, thank
Hi.
you guys for having me. I'm facially hair challenged on this group tonight. and
Sure.
After this weekend, you've got enough stubble that counts.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
you got
Fair.
Johnny
Came out
beat. He
really
doesn't even have
quick
any
this
up here.
weekend.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So you can make up for what I'm lacking
go.
here.
Oh, there we go. I've got jokes for that later.
So who are you? Where are you from?
My name is Bryan Huff. I've got Huff Photography Studios here in Selmer, Tennessee. I've been doing professional photography for about 17 years and wore a lot of hats before that. And, pretty much been self-employed my entire existence for, except for a short stint where I worked for somebody else and learned how much I didn't like it.
You worked
Fair.
for somebody else and you're like, never
Yeah.
again. You
I
had
was
like
like,
the Batman
okay.
voice going on.
Yeah.
Lauren, are
Yeah.
you ready with the photos? Because I want to share not only a sample of Bryan's phenomenal work,
I got you.
but I also want to give a huge
Wait.
shout out.
1 second. I am
Kudos.
derailing your derail.
What the?
I'm derailing it. Johnny, are you ready? Go.
Warning, this show may contain strong language or disturbing topics, which may be unsuitable for children, and unusual humor, which may be unsuitable for adults.
Thank you. Okay, now go, Theo. Go.
Okay, so honestly, I want to share some of the amazing images that
One.
Bryan
we have one.
Huff photo. We have one. We have one photo. We came in screaming, and this is Lauren at
Hi.
Unreal.
where the hell were we this weekend?
Mid-South.
Mid-South Con.
Thank you. This is Lauren at Mid-South Con, where not only did she
Do that.
do this amazing cosplay, my brain is fried. Oh my
Not
gosh,
only
is it-
did I do the amazing cosplay,
You-
I stayed up and did the contest.
And not only did you do the contest, you won second overall to everything. You won the basic. Honestly, the only thing that beat Lauren's cosplay was an enormous engineering structure that they were just talking about blueprints being rolled out. I mean, in multi people, I can't even explain, but that is the only thing. And it is absolutely amazing. That snake headdress is incredible.
Thank you.
Oh
That
my
snake
God.
headdress was damaged twice throughout the
Yeah.
con. Once almost directly before I had to go in for judging, and I had Joey ran up to me with a glue gun and I plugged it in the wall and I was like, please stay together, please stay together. So I'm happy it survived long enough. And I did get second place to Pac-Man, but if you saw these Pac-Man, you would understand there were 5 of them and they were larger than like my king-sized bed frame. And they came in with the people like waka waka
Enormous.
waka waka and like, and apparently the engineering inside of it was just a marvel. The way that I believe one of the judges had said that they expected it to be held together with like duct tape and a wish. And whenever they looked inside and they had an entire blueprint schematic on how to break it down so they could travel with it and put it back together and like numbers on everything to match up like a giant puzzle, they were like, okay, so you know what? I will happily lose to Pac-Man on that because dang, I cannot imagine who the hell put that together. Good job.
I'm just picturing
Um,
Joey the Roadie with like a hot glue gun and a shoulder holster running in like John Wick of cosplay repair.
It was pretty much that. I had an Arizona green tea in one hand and the glue gun and a spare glue stick in the other, and I was just hauling it,
Nice.
man.
Oh, yes.
Cosplay contests are something else. And honestly, I want to comment that Lauren, you're pretty, although you are experienced in cosplay, you are pretty well, you are, by your own admission, a bit of a novice when it comes to cosplay contests. This is what, your second one?
Second
So,
ever, yes.
and you have won prizes at both of the cosplay contests that you have entered. So that is absolutely amazing, in my
Can I
opinion. So, yay.
Can I point out too that we're talking about 2 in the course of less than a month that Lauren has dominated.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
It's been, well, I've been cosplaying for so long, and I am usually either one of the judges or like a very significant guest at the convention, so I never compete. And yeah, I started, and so I never compete, and so I've never won anything. And I was finally like, you know what? I feel like a fraud.
Well, next time you compete, you should just bring in before you come in and just lay magazines around where you're on the cover and just walk out.
Do you see I'm on the cover of a cosplay magazine? I made the cover before I ever had an award. But no, I felt like I needed to put my money where my mouth is. So I decided I was just going to go. Also, a lot of it had to do with our youngest, who we've been going to these conventions, and she just kept looking at me like, I want to compete. And I was like, I can't, I'm a judge. You can't compete. I will vote for you. Like, I can't, you can't, I'm a judge. And so the next convention, she looked at me and she was like, Mommy, you're not judging the next cosplay. And I was like, all right, okay. She really wanted to do it. And I was like, you know what? If you little 6-year-old have the nerve to go up there and do that, I'm going to do it with you. Let's do it together. And so my first competition was also my daughter's first competition, and we both won in our categories. She won in her category.
He's 2 for 2.
She's 2 for 2 too, as well.
3 for 3 technically, because there were 2 cosplay competitions at this last convention that she won best in show. And I think a lot of the reason to do with that is because she is actively making the cosplays with us, and we're documenting that, so we can go in and be like, we didn't buy barely any of this, and this is sewn, and this, and she did this, and that is that. And so it's fun. I am taking up a lot talking about cosplay, though, so let's get into the topic.
Absolutely.
Now, though, I think there's a segue there because you and Rosie both have been winning these cosplays with things that you created yourself. You're not doing store-bought stuff. You're not doing something that you picked up from someone else. You're doing things that you have constructed with your own hands and your own skills. And I think that's a great segue into talking about AI, because it has become so dominant in the industries of art and film, and even music now has got so much of AI in it that it's starting to make people wonder what is going to be down the line for the original true artists that are still out there. And is there even a future for those people?
I think that goes back to us being responsible consumers and paying attention to what we drive demand for. If we drive accidentally or on purpose drive demand for AI constructed artworks, we're gonna just systematically destroy actual human art and story, maybe even unknowingly. So I think people
That's why
really
we
need to
have
pay
to.
attention.
That's why we all have to work together to ensure that that doesn't happen. The art community, of which I happen to be a little bit of a part of, and have had my work scraped by the AI engine.
Mhm.
You know, I agree. It is a tool. It is a tool to be
Mm.
used. I am for it. Believe it or not, I do not like the theft about it because there is some theft going on. But
Sorry.
that's what needs to be regulated. We need to. Johnny wants to say something.
Yeah,
Go
He's
for it, man.
switching.
Jump
Johnny's
in.
ready to jump.
You guys are all right on target. And Joey, it is plagiarism at best,
Absolutely.
theft at worst.
Yeah.
And when Chat GPT came out, I played with it to see what the whole deal was. And first I was like, well, this is kind of cool. And then I did a prompt. What is diesel punk? And I was the host of the Diesel Punk podcast for 10 years. And Chat GPT spit out a 4-paragraph essay, and 2 of the paragraphs were taken directly from things that I had written and said, word for word, en masse. And then the other 2 paragraphs were cobbled together from things that my co-hosts had read or said or written. And it was clearly plagiarized from those sources. And that's when I started questioning the validity of AI as a tool. And as I started to play with AI art, I saw the same things happening. I saw these pieces of art where the AI engine scraped the internet and they created this Frankenstein creation. And one of my friend's signature was visible in the piece of art that I had prompted and created. And it was at that moment that I said, we got a problem.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Joey can probably really attest to this. Most of your digital technology is simply the computer deriving what it knows from some other content that it has found out there in the ether.
It's
And
just training
so,
data models.
right. And
Mhm.
it stands to reason to think that everything that AI creates, it's simply scouring the internet for similar content, taking from that and creating something that it is saying is original when actually it's the ultimate term paper plagiarism act just done by a computer instead of by a high school kid.
Now, granted, I agree with that also. Can we pull the last comment back up? I'd like to read that, please.
Yes.
So Jake Lindsay says AI is just plain laziness with artwork. Great artists do hand-drawn pictures and are impressive like hand-drawn cartoons, but AI is just a computer, no heart or effort. While that statement is true, it is not exactly laziness for someone to go in who's wanting to spit something out. They go in, they put in the time and effort to train that data model to get exactly what they want. The problem comes in when that person takes that, rips it out of there, goes to the store, hits print, and sells it. That's that's where the problem is.
Or in our industry, in the podcast industry, I've made a lot of enemies because I've taken a stand on this, because I see so many podcast gurus who are advocating the use of AI and using AI imagery, not artwork. It is not artwork. It is AI imagery in their promotional materials to promote their shows, to promote their services, and they think it's okay. They think it's okay. And, I see all of the people who defend AI creation running and saying, well, it's just a tool. It's just a tool. Or this one this grinds my gears every time I hear it. Well, how is AI scraping the internet and cobbling something together from other sources any different from an artist, author, or musician taking inspiration from another piece of artwork. And I will say the difference is that artist is still putting in the work.
Yep.
They're still they're still honing their craft. They're still refining their talent. They are putting in the physical hard labor to be inspired by something else. That's the difference.
Here's a prime example of that. We have a friend named Jonathan McDaniel, who is an amazing cosplay artist. And what he has chosen to do, where he has found his niche, is that he works with cosplayers and he does these images of the cosplayer as certain characters. And the reason I bring this up is that one of the things that I see consistently at a lot of cons is people that are essentially using copyrighted material to create things of their own art and sell them. And to me, it compares very closely with the AI thing, because you're using material that doesn't really belong to you. And so therefore, I think that there is a certain responsibility on the part of the artist. But what Jonathan does is, when he creates an image, he's creating an image of the cosplayer and not of the character who is copyrighted by someone else. And I can get behind that and I can support that. What I don't care for, though, is anything where you are going out and making money based on something that you have not even asked permission to use. And AI is just the ultimate dive into doing that, because not only are you not asking permission, you're not even putting in the work.
And because you're not asking permission, you're not the original artist is not being compensated.
Right.
So
exactly.
it is theft in the purest form.
You're not only stealing from the artist, you're stealing from everyone else who's actually putting in the work.
We have a really good comment here. I want to go ahead and talk about this. Someone else read it, though, because someone's at my door.
Do you want me to read that? Jake Lindsay says,
yes, please.
It's like the Willy Wonka scam. Hopefully it doesn't come to this, but people are going to use AI to make a wax fruit look real when it's not. And if that happens, the entertainment industry is in trouble.
Oh, wow.
I think that it is something that needs to be mentioned, because AI has been a conversation not only in the entertainment industry, but also in so many other industries. In my real life, I work in a very professional environment. And one of the things that I run into is the plagiarism of other people's writing. But we are also running into AI affecting other areas, such as banking, of all things. And this was a weird conversation that I had at an event where they were talking about AI is not regulated. There are no rules currently set in place, which impacts the ability to control what is placed out there. Okay, I'm going to back out.
So
technology laid all this out years ago.
Yeah,
so,
technology often outruns regulation. Even when the car was invented, they didn't know which side of the road to drive on at first, so the government had to catch up.
Somebody had to tell them.
Except this past Friday, while you guys were at Mid-South Con, we're all in Tennessee, I believe. Our governor, Bill Lee, signed the Elvis Act into law. And the Elvis Act, it stands for electronic license, vocal something. Anyway, the Elvis Act. And in short, what the Elvis Act does is it prohibits people from using AI to mimic an artist's voice without their permission, and can be criminally enforced as a Class A misdemeanor. Now, this is the first official piece of legislation in the United States to control the use of AI. And I can guarantee you that Tennessee now is the template. It was created to protect music artists, but now that legislation is passed, I can guarantee you that the halls of Washington are paying attention. And I know this conversation is going on, and there is going to be legislation coming sooner than later.
There
Does
has to
that
be.
specifically state voice though,
It
or is
does.
it IP?
It does specifically state voice. So there's more that needs to be done. But the fact is, something has been done.
Yeah,
They're
groundwork's been
starting. They're
put out.
starting on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the voice is scary. The
Pull
idea of
that
someone.
comment back up.
I have so many comments about it being named after Elvis, and I don't want to say them on here because people will
Eli-
find out where I live.
Eli comes up with "Thank you very much." Hashtag Elvis.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Look,
Yeah.
Tennessee
Very
has not really been a standout state when it comes to the creation of new laws, especially when it comes to technology. So I think it's great. I feel like it should have been called the Johnny Cash law, though, because I've seen more of his voice being used in AI interpretations. But I'm glad that we are trying to get ahead of this thing before it becomes a problem, because I mean,
Maybe
honestly,
name it
it's
after
in,
an
it's in,
artist who paid the other artists whose songs he used to get famous with.
right, exactly. And you know,
But he paid
every
him.
every science fiction franchise out there at some point addresses AI getting out of control and what's going to happen as a result. And yet here it is right here on our doorstep. And so many people are going, oh, well, this is so cool. This is really neat. And yet we're already starting to see where this has the potential of going and how it has the potential of just taking money out of people's pockets.
But that's living under the illusion that people are actually in control anyway.
Well, there's
Are
that,
they?
yeah.
Yeah, we've all seen this movie and we know how it ends.
We know how it ends, exactly.
You know, I wrote a bit about this for a lot of people that don't know.
1984.
Last year I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone, and so I went on the road and did stand up for a while. And
wait,
I had a friend of
hold up,
mine.
hold up.
What?
Hold
Oh,
up.
he
Is
was
there a
good.
video
You know,
of
we
this?
talked about this.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
videoed it, so there's proof that.
Are you
but the
funny? Tell
video
a joke.
is
Tell a joke.
mine.
We
It
got to
is
hear a
hidden.
joke.
Well, I just was talking to a friend of mine the other day that works at. He does work at Boston Dynamics, and not going to name him because I don't want him to get fired. But I told him, I said, "Look, man, I was like, I've seen you guys training these robot dogs how to walk, and the guy that runs up and kicks them, and it stumbles around." And it gets its footing again, starts walking, and the guy kicks it again. It stumbles around.
It
I said,
involves
these
so
things
much
have
bullying.
cameras and they have memory cards, and none of you employees have seen Terminator. You don't think these things are not going to remember you when
I
they
was
grow
Terminator
up?
watching
version of
another
John
one.
Wick.
I was
Yeah,
watching another one
so-
this week with a humanoid shaped robot. And they were doing the same thing. They were just walking up
Yeah.
and shoving it, and
I'm like-
and I'm like, okay, I've seen this in
Yeah.
Roadhouse. I know how this fight goes, and you're talking about something with Terminator like skills. Why is it that we keep testing these things by bullying them?
Look, when the creators of AI are saying, stop, we need to stop.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That should be
Yeah.
a big red flag. And, I don't know if anyone here listens or watches another podcast called The Y Files. Little shout out here to AJ at The Y Files. He did a whole episode about this, and he started a conversation with an AI engine, and he prompted it, how will AI end the world? And the story that
this.
the AI wrote was horrifying because it was so real and you can see it happening.
Yeah.
And Joey the Roadie, you're in IT. It started with one line of code infiltrating another network and then just becoming a virus.
We
Yeah.
grew up with war games, man, and that thing in the 80s scared us out of our
Do you
minds.
want to play a
Absolutely.
game?
Yeah, all we did was teach it chess, and it's like, think I'm going to kill everybody.
Let's nuke the world. The
Yeah.
only way to win is to not play.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Look,
So
one of my favorite AI stories was one I heard recently about a drone that was programmed with AI to go out and destroy the enemies of the United States. And there was a Air Force drone pilot that was assigned to communicate with the drone and to review its targets and tell it whether that was a valid target or not. And he canceled so many targets because the drone was picking out all these things that really weren't relevant targets. The drone turned around. Now, this is in AI only. This was not an actual incident. The drone turned around and destroyed its pilot because the pilot was calling it back from too many attacks, and the drone did not like that. That
I
is
was about to
where
say, how many
AI
members
has the
of
capacity.
Congress did this AI thing go get?
Well-
Wait, we can't mention Congress. They don't even know
My
what
bad.
TikTok
My
is.
bad.
So,
Damn it, that
to-
tiki-taki gonna get them.
To play off of
Honestly,
what
anytime AI has been introduced, whether it has been an online, I do believe that there was an incident a while back where AI was introduced to Google, and then it was like a Google type function where it absolutely turned on humanity, and
Yeah.
that is a pretty
It was on
standard.
Twitter.
Was it Twitter? Okay,
They turned
so
it loose on Twitter, and like within 30 minutes, it was going, you know what? I don't like
We don't like
humans anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
my favorite example of this is when they were using AI to run the loading robot at, it was either E3 or CS3, I can't remember which. And the robot decides that after doing the task twice, this is too mundane and shuts itself off.
Well, have you seen the video of the robot
Oh,
that was
that's awesome.
designed to like clean up the oil on
Yes.
the floor?
Yes.
And
That's
this
so
thing over
depressing.
time becomes drastically depressed because it cannot succeed at its task. We're talking about a computer, an emotionless machine that demonstrates human mental deficiencies as a result of being given a mundane task that it cannot succeed at. How is this a positive?
Yeah,
And you know
one
what's-
of the things sorry.
No, go ahead, Brian.
Technology never goes backwards. This genie is out of the bottle, so we got to
Exactly.
learn to live with it. It's not going back.
Well-
So how do we control it?
But okay, regardless of what you think of Elon Musk, to his credit, he has put an AI detector filter into Twitter, and it can detect posts that are generated or images that are generated with AI, and it puts a warning label over it to let the user know that this is AI generated. Do you still want to view it? Do you still want to read it? It's a step in the right direction. But here's the thing: we're talking about AI, plagiarizing and stealing from artists. And here's the ironic part of this: is that art is always the prophetic voice of the future. Artists,
Agreed.
artists always see the future before the rest of the civilization does.
That's why I've always loved street art, because I've always felt like that's literally the voice of the voiceless.
I would
that's
love
as
to
raw
read.
as it gets.
I would love to read this comment here. Jake Lindsay said, the thing about AI that scares me is that it can mimic past loved ones and people would be tricked by it. Also, it's not even past loved ones now. AI can mimic, it can pick, if you will get a phone call. This has already been documented. You can get a phone call and be like, hello, and hang up. And with that hello, they can mimic your entire voice. There's been cases where a mother has been called and it is her daughter on the phone crying, saying that she's been kidnapped and there is a ransom and all of this stuff. And the mom, panicking, luckily enough, calls the father, and the father's like, she's right here next to me.
Yeah.
They can mimic your live people too. And you can think that they're in, I don't know, some other entirely other state by the time you're talking to them. You don't know what's going on. It's terrifying.
The main problem is that it's moving too quickly to be regulated by the current speed of our legislature.
And anything that people can do, if someone can take advantage and do something bad with it, they're going to. Let's just be honest.
Absolutely.
The fact is
anything.
The fact is, if somebody is making money off of it, then the lawmaking and everything else that goes with that is going to be in support of it, because there is going to be a lobby for it. There's going to be people that are getting with their politicians going, hey, we need to be able to do this because we're making money and that's what we really want to do in the long run. So, and then you throw a little bit of money at your local politicians and they're going to let these things slide by. And by the time we figure out there's a problem, it's going to be too late to stop it.
My absolute fear is going to be when AI gets introduced to quantum computing and it gets networked.
Oh no!
As soon as that happens,
it's going to be in
RSA
the matrix.
Gone, security gone, our banking system's gone, all of it.
Now
You heard it here, folks. Pull out the money cash now. Sorry.
It's not attached to gold.
Buy gold. Buy gold.
So money's not real.
Here's the thing. All of that is true. And Geek Gumshoe, you're absolutely right. But here is the one saving grace is that politicians are terrified of having their words twisted, their image used without their permission. And so that is the one saving grace, is that a lot of our people in Congress are ready to act to preserve their own careers.
And see,
they're also afraid it might learn how to vote.
Yeah, that's terrifying. But I can see where that's a great thing because, yay, they're doing something toward it. But I can see it also just stopping there. Like, we're protected. Screw everybody else. Have your art stolen. We don't care.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So Johnny brings up a great point, and this is where one of my concerns about AI comes in, especially with the modern generation of people who are so influenced by social media, is that you can now with the possibilities that there are with AI and with what will happen in the next few years, you can put out a video of somebody doing an absolutely heinous act. By the time anybody realizes that's AI, nobody's going to care because we've seen it over and over again. You can interpret things however you want. You can put it in front of the public. They're going to absolutely believe it no matter what else you tell them, what else you put in front of them. By the time they realize it's AI, the damage is done.
Well, and how many people have had their lives ruined by an accusation?
Right.
Not even anything,
or just by a convenient editing of media footage.
Oh gosh, yeah.
This makes me even think.
Prince William or Prince Henry as prime example. He's sitting there telling somebody you got to go 3 times, but the side view looks like he's giving somebody the finger.
Mm-hmm.
And they printed the side view.
Speaking of the royal family, what's the deal with Kate Middleton?
She had surgery. Everyone thinks she's missing. Yeah. Apparently, she had to go in and have surgery, so she was out of the public eye for a while. But everyone was like, conspiracy.
See,
her body doubles out there. That's all you need to know.
That's a prime example, right? One person puts out there a rumor that she's missing, and it proliferated, and it got out of control of the royal family, and nothing they can say or do can put that genie back in the bottle.
No, absolutely.
War of the
not.
Worlds,
That's
the
my
radio
biggest
show.
concern about all of it is that by the time
go all the way back.
By the time the AI stuff is out there, by the time people figure it out, the story has already been told in one version, and there are people that are absolutely going to believe that until the end of days. There is nothing you're going to be able to do to change the story.
Yeah, and people don't really care about facts anymore.
No.
And it's really scary.
And see, I'm going to disagree with that a little bit. I feel like they do care about facts, except they're too easily influenced to think, oh, I read this on the internet, therefore it is fact. Because one person can seriously, like one person can hear something and maybe they have a mass following and they believe it to be true.
Sure.
And maybe that one person doesn't fact check. So they present it to their following of people as true, thinking that it is true. And all of these people believe, like, they trust in this person. That's why there's so many apology videos out, because someone can be like, I didn't know all of the facts. I am so sorry. You know, these people trust these strangers online. Like they're some sort of person that they know in real life. Like, oh no, I know this. You know, I've seen them millions of times. You've seen them. They've never seen you. You don't actually know that person. And so just one little slip up of a person with a big following can result in this catastrophic event.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And there's no real fact checking when you think about what is going out, not only on social media, but in the media in general. There is such a need to be the first to report on situations that
That's
they
a
will
good.
report
Yeah.
absolutely anything. I feel like a lot of the Kate Middleton situation is based on the fact that somebody wants to one up the next publication, the next media outlet.
Mhm.
And that is one of those areas that has become extremely dangerous. In
Absolutely agree.
yeah. And
mean,
I
Look,
have actually seen that personally affect someone in a very high ranking position that was torn apart by things that were stated by the media that were not accurate.
And
so
that's
the
where we've
media,
got to get a distinction between, the press was so important that it was listed in the First Amendment to be protected, because one of the first things the government's going to do is tear down the press and shut them
Mhm.
up so they can, protect and control the flow of information. But press and media are not the same. Press was for protection, and the
Mhm.
problem is media is for money.
And people
And
don't
Absolutely.
understand the
there
difference
is a
between the
difference,
two.
and
Huge.
press is effectively dead at this point, which is absolutely terrifying.
yeah, the
Under the
press,
desk news on
the
TikTok. Got to give them a shout out.
Nice.
look, the press used to have what they called scooping, which meant that
Yep.
you went out and your outlet got the story before anyone else did, and you put
Yep.
it in front of the public.
Mhm.
Now, scooping has been replaced with just putting something in front of people that they
Anything.
will bite and grab into. So
Thumbnail.
that you can say you were the first to
Yep.
get in front of folks. And there is no fact checking. There is nothing that keeps everyone legit and
It's
and
just
on the up
marketing.
and up when it comes to that.
And when it comes to stuff like that, you've got to remember that like things change over time. Press, there's probably laws, I'm assuming, hopefully, that hey, you need to like kind of print what you think is the most truthish, which I know has
That
been.
was done away
Truthish.
with in the
No.
80s.
Oh well, that's fun. I
Look,
know that
that's
they didn't
that's
ever really follow any rules, but
everyone hides behind freedom of press to say what they want to say these days.
Yeah.
There is no fact checking there, unless of course it's the politically correct thing to do. So when it comes to things like scooping in the media, it's simply putting something out there that gets sensationalized before anyone else puts out something different.
And I am one of the people who believes that freedom of the press is one of the constitutional freedoms that comes with a inherent or implied responsibility
Should, yes.
Absolutely.
to report the truth.
oh
Yes.
right, I'm
They're
sorry.
the watchdog.
I have to jump in here. Sorry. Random idea that just popped in my head. We should have a show called The Fact Check, where it literally talks about things that are like in the press, but we actually go in and someone does the fact checking behind it to tell the truth as to what's going on instead of just the thumbnail, click on this.
But we
Great
cosplay,
idea.
so we don't
Listen
have
to
to
it,
worry
though.
about facts. We want to play in imaginary worlds. I'm
To
going to go
segue
back
from
into my
that-
hole.
Exactly.
That's
This,
We
fair.
want to
this
hear
is,
Yeah.
what we
this
want
is
to
one
hear.
of the this is one of the dangers that AI presents is it can generate what people see as facts, and we
That's
segue
true.
into that as to AI generated images that have no basis of anything ever found anywhere, such
Let's
as the AI mystery woman.
Ah.
There we
Oh.
go.
So what is
Oh.
this? I'm not familiar with the AI mystery woman.
Oh, really? This is terrifying.
Is that Caitlin
Yeah.
Reagan? Who is that?
DL, do you know the story behind this?
So this is actually one of those fascinating cases where AI has generated an image that continues to show up over and over and over again. As we know, there are parameters that are
Mhm.
given to AI. And my understanding is the parameters that create this particular image vary. And she keeps popping up over and over and over again, almost like
never
a
seen that.
ghost in the machine. Oh,
They've
yeah.
even given her a name.
And
I
now
can't
I
remember
can't
it though.
unsee it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Enough nightmare
It's a
fuel there.
horrifying image.
Yes.
My next cosplay, the AI mystery woman.
Ooh.
There you
Sorry.
go.
Look, do y'all remember? So Time Magazine a while back produced a picture of the most beautiful woman in the world. And part of it was based on like her eyes and some other things about her. And it started being circulated as a standard for what the entire world feels to be a standard beauty. And so when you start looking into AI and what AI is willing to create, it kind of creates a really bizarre concept of how AI sees us as opposed to how we see ourselves.
I didn't know my wife was on the cover of Time magazine.
Look at you.
You just went
Just
big
bought
time
some
brownie
points.
Well, and
she's
when you first popped up that image of the AI mystery woman, pop it up again.
Please stop.
First thing I thought was,
It's Momo.
wow, that's Lindsay Lohan on a bad day.
Oh,
Be nice to
no,
Lindsay.
no, uncalled for.
Well, but here's the thing. So obviously this image was created using popular people. It was created 100% using the images of celebrities. Don't know how it created that. I think, Johnny, you have actually had a very interesting
I wish we
AI
had that photo.
creation. Yeah, where you were you popped up like you were looking for, I think it was superheroes.
Well,
female-
so yeah, it was an image that was posted on a Facebook group called Public Domain Superheroes. And people post their original creations, their original drawings, and their original characters all the time. Well, this one particular user posted an image of an original character that you just look at it and you could see very specific design elements from different sources. It was, and obviously the prompt that he probably used was, create a blonde superhero that shoots light beams or something like that. And so blonde, that word blonde, is going to scour the internet for references to blonde. And one of the biggest references is Legally Blonde with Reese
Witherspoon.
and so it was her face on a body of a character from Jupiter's Legacy, a show on Netflix, and with an emblem on the chest from Starlight from the Amazon original show The Boys. And it was so obvious, and the hand had 8 fingers.
Of course it did.
Yeah. And it was just, there it is. That's it. Yeah. And this one actually even looks like it's been cleaned up a little bit because the hand is not as
fixed.
grotesque as it originally was.
Freakish.
But that is the image, and it is obvious what the source material is. I mean, you can't
AI
even question
seems
it.
lazy to me. It's like it grabs the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about that I found out about Adobe's AI, the generative AI. This is a tool I do use in Photoshop specifically to do things like remove a hair or something like that. Basically use it like a cloning stamp. But Adobe does not allow their generative AI to scrape outside of images they already own. It is only trapped within the art that Adobe has licensed, if I understand that correctly.
And when they go ahead.
Oh, no, I was changing the subject. So go ahead and I'll go after you.
And as far as just doing something like I love doing it to make the job I was already going to do easier.
Yes.
That's the extent. I don't want this thing dictating creativity to me, or what it thinks is creativity or what it feels like is. I want it to, I have a job I got to do. You can make a few steps easier for me. That's great. That's advancement. I feel like, because
and here's the difference
done for my clients more efficiently.
And here's the difference on that. You paid for that.
Yep.
And the programmers or the artists who created the original artwork have been paid for that. They get royalties. I use Canva as a design tool all the time, and it has templates and it has licensed layouts that you can use. Well, I pay for that service.
Right.
and the people who created it are compensated from my monthly
So
subscription.
now we get into the ethics question of, okay, like, so AI is good if we can make sure not only to keep it in its box, but keep it ethically sourced to where we're still employing human beings to do human
Exactly.
work to allow us to create better and be better human artists and sustain everyone.
To jump off of what you were just saying with the, okay, you have this picture and you're using the AI for this specific function. And we only have a couple minutes left. So I do want to bring up one specific aspect of AI when it comes to using it on pictures and such. There's a lot of AI being used to replicate naked people, sometimes
Oh,
underage
yeah.
naked people. And I
Wait,
would
what?
really naked. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're using it for adult
Okay,
activities.
I've got to find this.
For famous
Adobe
people.
AI
Oh
will
my
not.
gosh.
Adobe AI will not let you. Because
That is
even if I
nice.
do skin work and it thinks that I'm trying to generate, it'll say this goes against our code.
Go Adobe. But
Yeah,
it
and it
is
shuts
being
down.
used for those purposes. And we have some men here that I would trust with myself in precarious situations. So I would like to hear your take on that specifically, because that's something we haven't touched on. And it is being used not only for celebrities, but sometimes for that chick who drops off her kids. And I found her picture on Facebook.
Yes.
And
Let me jump into that, because having spent 15 years in a child exploitation task force, one of the things that happened years ago was that there were laws that were set out for, I guess, limiting the ability to create art that depicted children in suggestive situations. And
Okay.
while sometimes the laws, when it comes to child exploitation, are not the best in the world, in Tennessee a few years ago, we got a real blow to the agents that were investigating these things when a lawmaker decided that there were things that we needed to clean up about that made it very complicated to get decent prosecution on these cases. So the same thing, we have to look at, what if someone is creating images of children in these particular cases? Where do we draw the line on that? And how do we make sure that people are not being given a tool that they can get for free, or they can buy, because believe me, they'll pay money for it, that will create the images that give them the gratification that they're seeking? And to me, that's kind of a scary application of the technology. But I mean, honest to God, it's coming. We know that it is.
It's
What
here.
there's a
It's
big
already
case.
here. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
there-
case. If it's, I mean, Johnny, you may know the same case I was just about to
Well,
talk about.
Taylor Swift has
Okay,
been
no.
deep faked
Yeah.
Yeah.
for adult
mean,
films.
There
That's
was
been
another
around.
one where
Yeah.
there's a case right now where a child was basically sent a video that looked like them. It had been AI generated by a scam artist, and they're like, "We're going to put this out on the internet if you don't pay us." And they killed.
Yeah, we're going to tell everybody it's you.
Mhm.
That's happening to women
And
too.
so,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely horrible, and it's like I said, it's outran our legislation. Which isn't hard to do, but we've
Well,
got to
to
catch
be
up
fair,
to this thing
though,
before it's too late.
To be fair, though, we only recently in the last couple of years came out with cyberbullying laws in the state of Tennessee. So
Right.
we are far behind the
So far
curve when it
behind.
comes to this stuff. And this is one of those things that we absolutely have to get in front of.
So you
because
hear it here,
it's going to
folks.
happen.
Y'all hear it here first. If you want the laws to get passed for the stuff, do it to your representatives and make them want to pass that law. I'm kidding.
Call your
Talk
state
to your
representatives
kids.
and tell them we need
Yeah.
laws that protect children, even in the AI circuit. If someone is creating images that represent a child in compromising situations, that should be illegal, and
Can
we have to make it a law.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, with children, but also just with anyone. If someone popped
Yes.
up with naked
Yep.
pictures of me online and it was complete, I would be so pissed. Not to mention, like,
Yeah.
I would feel so heartbroken. Like, first
Yeah,
off,
no,
just
send those
ask,
photos
dude.
back.
But
Okay.
Look, there
Uh,
are still states that don't have revenge porn laws, and
oh God,
so if you consented to the video when it happened, and your ex-boyfriend decides to put it on the internet, you have no claim against it in a lot of
Yikes.
states. So
Yikes.
the
I just-
idea that we're going to get in front of this is just ludicrous. We have to demand that state legislators get in front of it and say, look, we're not going to tolerate it in any sense.
Yeah,
In the
that's what it's gonna
meantime,
take.
talk to your kids. Talk
Yes,
to
God,
your
yes,
kids.
Absolutely.
Make
yes.
your kids understand they can come to you.
I just recently listened to another podcast that discussed that specific topic of revenge porn, exactly. And it was from the person who started it, from the person who that started the actual website, Darknet Diaries. One of the episodes, somewhere around the 50s, I think. But yeah, they were discussing that specific problem, and nothing was done because it's in the gray area of
There's
nobody
nothing
was actually
specifically
harmed.
addressing it.
Exactly.
No one is
because
actually harmed because God forbid someone takes someone's emotional status or their mental health into consideration.
yeah.
So can I
I
offer a positive for the
Yes.
use of AI, especially when it comes to law enforcement? One of the things that we ran into when I was working for the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force was that in order to bait the perpetrators in these cases, the guys that were going out looking for it, a lot of times you would have to create a undercover identity as a child, someone under the age of 18, or depending on what state you were in, maybe somebody under the age of 16 or 13 or what have you. But the legal issues that came into play was that it had to be one of two things. It either had to be a picture of a law enforcement officer as a child. So if you were a child in 1980, that picture wasn't going to do any good because it was going to be obvious that that was a picture from 1980. Or it had to be a child that has never existed. So it had to be created through either an artist or through some kind of artificial intelligence. So one of the things that I see as a positive with AI is the ability to aid law enforcement in creating a persona, an image, or a avatar
Yeah.
of a child who has never existed in order to go out and fight these kind of crimes. And I think that's a great positive.
That's a great example of a way that people can use it
Absolutely.
positively.
Yep.
Hey guys, I really hate to cut this conversation off, but we are totally at the top of the hour.
Damn.
And I just want to kind of reach back or go back around. Oh my God. Somebody
circle
God,
the
please stop me.
horses. I don't know phrases.
What the hell? Somebody
Can't
stop
word
me.
today.
Yeah, I can't word for
Venture
shit
back
today.
It's been a
around.
long 4
Yeah, let's-
weeks in a row.
It has.
It has been. We're on our fourth, some of us fifth con for this month.
Mhm.
All right, I've got you. Johnny, let's go with you since I know you have to like dive out. You've got stuff to do. Tell us who you are, where people can find you. I know we did it before, but just give us a little short.
Yeah, so John Pyka, the prophet of pop culture. You can call me Johnny, or Johnny Beyond is my stage name. You can follow, find, and support me. The best way is at johnnybeyond.com. And you can connect with all of my social, all of my podcasts right there. Easy to remember. Just put a .com after my name and you're golden.
And I'm going to throw everyone off here. So y'all are lucky you get a preparation here. Johnny, 10 words or less. What do you think of AI?
I think it is plagiarism at best, theft at worst, and I think it is dangerous and insidious.
All right.
Mm.
Who wants to go next? Someone raise a hand.
I can go.
Me. Go, Geek.
Geek Gumshoe, you can find me on, I've got a little bit of stuff on YouTube. I've got some stuff on Instagrams. Also, you can look for me as Dad Budget Adventures on YouTube. There's a little bit more stuff there to watch, as well as on Instagram and on TikTok. And my interpretation of AI is that it's a tool, and that it should be looked at as such. The tool only can do what the hands of the professional will let it do.
All right. Joey, hit it.
Joey the Roadie Knight. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
And a lot of my
there's
videos.
where there in a lot of Geeky Got the Gamer Girls videos where there's not a lot of content on my stuff, but it's coming. Or you
He's
can
the
find my
rubber glove
artwork
guy.
at Punkworks. That's PUNKWERKZ at DeviantArt. 10 words or less for AI. A tool to be regulated.
Okay.
A tool, don't be a
Good.
tool.
And Huff, it is your first time on here, so I want you to give the
Yeah.
biggest, longest, I'm so freaking cool, and I do the bestest
Absolutely.
photo-y cosplay stuff. I have a magazine.
Oh
Tell
my
me all
gosh.
about
Just
it.
go with what she said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Bryan Huff and I shoot people. That's-
We have
the
a
camera.
retired
With the
officer
camera.
here.
So anyway, I started
um,
blasting.
Yeah. So my name is Bryan Huff. I have Huff Photo Studios. We do photography, mainly cosplay. We have Huff Photo Presents the magazine and the podcast. You can find pretty much everything at huffphoto.com, and that's got links to all of our social and everything. And AI to me is equivalent to nuclear energy. It can be amazing and it could wipe us all out. It depends
that.
on who
I love
gets to use
that.
it first. So I hope the good guys outrun the bad guys on this one.
Hey,
Not
DL,
likely.
I'm going to pop something up here, and I want you to talk about it. Go.
Oh, shit. Oh, hello. We are going to be at the Smoky Mountain Fan Fest in August. That is the 10th through the 11th. That is in Kingsport, Tennessee. If you have the opportunity to come out and see us, please do. And I believe that
there.
Huff Photo will be
Yep.
there as well.
I will
But
be
more
there.
importantly than anybody that is here on this panel, Billy Zane is going to be there.
Are we all going to be there? Everyone's still
Yeah,
there.
we're all gonna be
Everybody
there.
Perlman's going to
here
be there,
We're gonna have a
man.
reunion.
is going to be
Yay!
there. And Billy Zane.
Hellboy's going to be there. Ron Perlman.
Yeah, that's going to be
Ron
amazing.
Perlman. Yeah.
And
I know.
DL and I will be at the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror
right.
Fest this weekend in
Oh,
Nashville.
yes.
Mhm.
So if you're
Yes.
at that event, come find us on the floor. We're not going to be at a table. We're just going to be guests. I mean,
We're
we're
gonna be
wandering
wandering.
around the floor, just having
Hunt
fun.
them down.
Please
I
don't.
don't have
Come
anything
stalk
this
us.
weekend.
No. Stop
What
that.
the heck?
Hunt them down for a photo shoot.
We're at a horror con, so please hunt us down. I know that sounds so creepy. I'm excited. By the way, have I mentioned that Billy Zane is going to be at the
Oh
Smoky
my
Mountain?
goodness.
Only
Think
about
you
7
brought it up.
times.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
so I don't know who this person is, but
He's
I'll
from
Google
Lawnmower
them.
Man.
From what?
The
He was in
Phantom,
Titanic.
Demon Knight.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
the duty dad, the
The
boyfriend?
Phantom.
Yes,
Yeah.
the fiance.
The-
Okay. He's pretty
yeah.
good. There's that one scene where he's like screaming at her. By the way, she was like, yeah, just like scream at me and all that. And she was not expecting the amount of like force and the table and all of that. And that was completely unscripted just to like scare the crap out of her.
He was in Zoolander.
Yes, as
It's
Billy
been a minute.
Zane.
Yeah.
Billy
He
Zane.
was in he was in Zoolander as
himself.
Billy Zane.
Listen
to your
friend Billy Zane. He's trying to help you.
I love
Maybe
that
I
you
have
know
these
that.
actors
Oh my
completely mixed
God.
up. I'm confused now. Anyway,
Look, he was in Tombstone. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to smile and nod.
And he's played the devil before, and I'm trying to remember that one. And
Demon
with
Knight.
thank you, best monologue in
Yeah, very Beetlejuice.
history.
but, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you aren't even kidding. I think that's why I am obsessed with Billy Zane. And with that,
Oh, wait. I'm
What?
sorry. I had one more thing I wanted to say.
I'm bringing.
I'm
the
sorry.
gun.
I wanted to say thank you to all of the guys jumping on, and it's the Ice Cream Kings tonight. We never got to say it; it was never said. But we needed a damn break after this many conventions, which is
Where's
funny
my
because
crown?
like 3 of these people were at the conventions with us. But
Absolutely.
thank you so much for taking over and being our Ice Cream Kings.
Oh, it was
Right.
amazing.
This was
I
amazing.
Always
absolutely.
happy to
This
be here,
was
ladies.
a great show, and
We-
I cannot wait to sit back and go watch it, listen to it.
Like seriously,
Oh.
we were texting each other like, "This is amazing! I know they're kicking ass." Anyway,
I know. At this point, we are officially fired, and they are officially hired. And with that said, pleasant screams. Goodbye.
You never know when it actually ends. You have to sit here and stay